This is Perth. It has over 80 different train stations, and nearly 30 of its stations opened after the year 2000. The network, which is operated by TransPerth, is quite extensive, but finding patronage data isn't easy. The most comprehensive figures are from the 2013 to 14 financial year, with newer estimates having been pulled from planning documents. So, following a fair bit of research and calculation, here are the quietest stations in Perth today. Tucked away in Perth's western suburbs, between the local centres of Claremont and Subiaco, sits a station in a suburb that many Perth residents would recognise, but probably not visit more than a few times a year, if at all. I'm talking about Karrakatta. Karrakatta is located on the Fremantle line and the airport line, 7.4 kilometres from Perth. It's the least used station on the Fremantle line, as well as the airport line, and is the fourth least used station on the entire network. In the 2013-14 financial year, the station received 66,562 visits. The Fremantle line as a whole currently sees about 70.5% of what it did in that year, meaning Karrakatta saw about 46,926 passengers over the past year, or just 129 visits per day. Karrakatta opened in 1886, 5 years after the rest of the Fremantle line, and 1 year after the line was duplicated. Strangely enough, Karrakatta Cemetery, the main source of patronage, didn't actually open until the year 1899, over 13 years after the station itself. The Irwin Army Barracks are also in the vicinity, and opened in 1895 for military training by the WA government. Indeed, during the time when Karrakatta was just deciding, the Defence Barracks actually had exclusive access to it. Because of the cemetery and the army barracks taking up most of the suburb, the 2021 census recorded a population of just 22 people in Karrakatta, which means most of the patronage is sourced by the nearby cemetery. The station has 2 side platforms, and in September of 1979, the Fremantle line actually closed to make way for a proposed busway. After plenty of protesting though, the line was reinstated in 1983, 4 years after its closure. Platform 1 serves city-bound trains to Perth and High Wycombe, while Platform 2 serves trains to Claremont and Fremantle. Now, after the Fremantle line reaches Perth, it continues east through the station, travelling through the eastern suburbs to the destination of Midland. So it's off to the Midland line to find the least used station on it. Success Hill is a station on the Midland line, about an 11.6 kilometre journey from Perth. It's the least used station on the Midland line and the second least used station on the TransPerth network. In the 2013 to 14 financial year, the station saw just 47,028 visits. The Midland line today sees about 64% of the number of passengers it did in that year, so Success Hill would see about 30,281 passengers a year, or just 83 passengers per day. Success Hill opened as a whole in 1960 to serve football fans travelling to the nearby Bassendean Oval, the home of the Swan Districts Football Club who play in the Waffle. Trains on the Midland line began operating through the current location of Success Hill in 1881, nearly 80 years prior to Success Hill's eventual opening. The station is also just 400 metres from the Swan River, where the railway crosses on this rather separate pair of bridges. Unlike a number of stations on the network, Success Hill isn't actually named after a suburb. The station is technically within Bassendean and is just over 800 metres from Bassendean Station, which has facilities like a lift and even a small bus station. As such, the proximity of the station likely impacts the low numbers seen at Success Hill. Being located on an island platform, Success Hill can be accessed through a pedestrian overpass with a steep ramp down to the platform. It's got a small waiting shelter, but has no passenger information displays save for this small next service information machine. The area around Success Hill is almost completely residential, without any real commercial anchor aside from the Oval. Bassendean in general is a pretty low-density suburb, so the majority of users are a handful of locals and people headed to the Oval or the Swan River. Wellard, which is our next station, is located a few kilometres to the east of Rockingham. It's a station on the Mandurah line, 30 kilometres away from Perth. It's the least used station on the Mandurah line, but it's got far higher patronage than most other low-usage stations in the city. In the 2013 to 14 financial year, the station saw 363,790 visits. The Mandurah line today has seen an increase in patronage, 106% of the number of passengers it saw in 2013-14. So today, Wellard would see about 385,112 passengers a year, or 1,055 passengers a day. Wellard opened with the rest of the Mandurah line in December of 2007 to serve the surrounding suburb of the same name. The station is also about 2 kilometres from Kwinana town centre, which is the location of a major bus interchange. There are 3 bus routes to the interchange from Wellard, and the station has 4 stands total, the 4th of which is drop-off only. But Wellard is so shocking to me, and the reason is that, unlike all the other least used stations, Wellard is the first station on the Mandurah line to receive transport-oriented development around it. Yes, even with TOD and a whole 380,000 users, Wellard still remains the least used station on the line. This overall goes to show how absolutely incredible the Mandurah line is when it comes to usage, far surpassing the majority of Heritage Line stations. Something most people might not know is that during planning, Wellard was actually planned to be called Leader, named after a neighbouring suburb. Today the station continues to serve both the suburbs of Leader and Wellard itself, with trains every 15 minutes and every 10 minutes at peak. Despite being the least used station on the line, Wellard still reaches patronage levels that many stations on the older parts of the network never even reach, and its role as a connection to the surrounding area makes it an important part of the Rockingham area. July 2024 saw the opening of the Yanchep rail extension from Butler to Yanchep in Perth's northern suburbs. With it came 3 new stations, Alkimos, Eglinton and Yanchep, the first of which is looking to be the least used on the whole line at the moment. Alkimos is a whopping 43 kilometres from Perth, and is the least used station on the Yanchep line. It serves the suburb of Alkimos in what is currently an under-construction area of the suburb. In 6 years' time, the station is projected to have about 3,600 passengers a day, but at the moment, given its location and lack of current development, it's likely far lower, maybe about 500 or 600 a day. Alkimos has 2 side platforms, located in a cutting, and has 8 bus stands that serve 4 routes. The land around the station is actually government-owned, and is projected to become its own city centre, known as Alkimos Central, but for now, the station is right on the fringe of Perth's urban sprawl, as the Yanchep line's least used station. So you're probably wondering about what the quietest stations on the Ellenbrook, Airport, Thornley and Armadale lines are, and the least used stops for all those lines will be revealed in part 2 of this video, so subscribe now so you don't miss part 2 of Perth's least used stations. Thanks for watching.